The number of job opportunities has always outpaced our ability to build new developers. I would argue it's getting worse.
You just put something up there which has made me think. Power Apps.
Yeah.
So Power Apps sits somewhere between software as a service and custom code.
Totally.
Right?
Yeah.
If you are building a really great model-driven Power App that does exactly what you want, so it's still very custom to your business, are you minimizing your future modernization build by the fact that Power Apps behind the scenes is going to keep getting better and better?
I think you're taking certain pieces off the table, like your ability to utilize those new platform pieces are just going to come for free. It's a limited client, so while it is really great at that phone, tablet, PC story, it's a forms over data tool. So it's a struggle to do much more with that, although in the recent incarnations, and I've just done shows around this, where you now can use your regular developers to build client-side components that you can add into the Power Platform space. So those domain experts that are building those new clients have tooling specific to your workspace. Like I can envision now, and I don't think we're there yet, where a company working on their internal apps would build a set of tools for every Power Platform developer to use that would give a common look and feel, that would sort of encapsulate all of that. And then you're still, in the end, it's still logic apps under the hood, right? You can build your custom components and they can call to them. So, Microsoft's already starting to spin this terminology, but I'm seeing real field cases where regular development and the Power Platform experts, these domain experts, like they remind me of developers from the 90s that had another profession and they picked up a VB or an Access to automate pieces of it, and then it became their job. And Power Platform seems to be playing that very same role. And so it's easy to fall into a game where it's like they're not real developers, but like, look, under the hood, in the end, they're spitting out code. And with the current set of tooling, we can now push that code to GitHub and go through a normal CI/CD pipeline and start to build some better tests around it and add our own code to it. It's just a client coding solution for forms over data. Like, why would you be unhappy with that?
Yeah.
And it's not like any of us were getting to the bottom of our to-do list, right? Like you've got features you want to get built, right? One way or the other. Like I wonder how many of those you might be able to pick up if the invoicing app was actually a Power Platform app and you could just prototype it yourself.
Yeah, well, we're living in a big developer shortage at the moment.
For sure. And by the way, and always have, right? The number of job opportunities has always outpaced our ability to build new developers. I would argue it's getting worse because the demand for development is growing so much more rapidly. And even though the rate of training has gone up dramatically and the resources have gone up dramatically, it can't keep up. But this like 20%, now closer to 30% unfilled jobs in development, it's never been lower, right? It's just a little more exacerbated than before because the space is getting so large.
But things like the Power Platform, so for instance, I'm not a developer, but I have a little training, and Power BI has let me do my own BI solutions and my own reporting, and Power Apps, same deal. You can open up development, what was officially kind of development work now, to a wider range of workers now.
And within a certain set of guidelines, right? Certain classes of work will fall nicely into this thing, so great to take that off the table and those limited dev resources don't have to worry about that. The question is it a good tool where when you hit the limits of that tool, we're not stuck? We're not at that 80% case now we have to rebuild the 80% to get the next 20. And for the most part, I'm seeing, although it wasn't like this at first, like Power Platform is clearly maturing into when you hit that 80% case, you need that last 20. We can incorporate dev resources and use what you've already got.
Yeah, it's just not a rewrite.
Yeah, it's not, don't start over, you're not in a trap. And that more and more that seems to be apparent. But again, it's like there was always too much work. Anything we can do to bring new ones in. And plus to sort of recognize this is the rekindling of an old path to growing new developers, right? That wave of rad tools that we got in the mid-90s, the VBs and so forth, created a new generation of developers. Right? They became .NET developers later, many of them did. And so it's interesting to think in that context, to say, 5 years down the path, those folks that got enamored of the Power Platform development, that really came in as a domain expert, I know my business space really well and I'm trying to put automation into it, and this speaks to me, like I've got a feel for this, and I start interacting with the IT team about security and access to data and so forth, and I work with the dev team and make sure I learn those fundamentals about source code management and testing and deployment strategies. And bit by bit, I grow myself a new developer, because we can't hire enough of them. Maybe we need to make some.
Yeah, so people who already know your business and then they learn the tools.
And are excited.
Yeah.
Right? Like enjoying those tools and can take work off the table that's not popular with developers anyway. Cross-platform client development is hard work. And form server data is pretty routine. And so the fact that that kind of work, which is hugely valuable and represents a big chunk of the work, can be taken on by a new tool with a group of people that are having a good time doing it, like give me more of that. That's a good day.